ES Cinder, a remix of Dark Souls 3 by Rotaka. Folks, you know what that song means.
I sure do.
Oh, yeah, we're getting a second try here. I mean, well, first try, I guess, for this show,
Yeah.
but second try, because I think I almost fucked it up on the first one, didn't I?
Oh, well, yeah.
It was just kind of like mental habit.
Yeah.
Metal Gear Solid 2, whatever. It's fine. It's fine.
We're good.
Insert credits, round 53, no takebacks.
No takebacks.
I forget what it fucking means. I thought of the name. I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
this is clever. And I can't remember what it's about today.
Great. Yeah.
It's the best. Well, welcome everybody. I'm MrBond.
I am Tormod.
And I'm Saxxon.
Friday nights are fucking awesome.
Yes.
You're not wrong.
Don't ever take this from us. you
Especially when they're
shitlords.
Friday nights when you're not on call.
Yeah, true enough.
This
Yeah.
Friday night cannot be taken
Ooh.
back.
Actually, technically, I think I am on call. Yep.
Oh.
Well, fuck it.
Sucks for you.
I don't care. Nothing ever happens when I'm on call, so that's fine.
I mean, same. Until it does.
Yeah, that's true. I probably jinxed something pretty hard, and
Yeah.
RNG is going to come down on me soon.
Yep.
I feel kind of bad because one of my coworkers, obviously on call because we have a rotation, she ended up getting paged at 2:30 in the morning with a ticket that was misdispatched.
Oh, no.
But she saw that it was priority high, and so she's like, I better go log on. And then it was that.
That's
No.
the
She's like, well, I'm
worst.
awake now. I may as well go to work.
Oh, no.
So she went in for 4.
Oh, gosh.
So I was like, oh, no, don't do that. And she left at like noon anyway, so it was fine.
I
Yeah.
guess it all
It's like-
balances out.
Yeah. Longer Friday, I guess.
Oy.
Yeah.
I
Probably
would be
felt real long, too.
Super pissed if that happened.
Yeah, bonus, nobody was there until like 7.
Yeah, I guess. Get shit done.
Yep.
Housekeeping. Around 54 for March will be on the 16th.
Sounds right. I'm just going to believe you.
I actually have the calendar open this time.
Oh,
so
I'm
you
proud of
best-
you.
You best believe, son.
Oh, that month I'll be on call. Great. Damn it.
And then round 55 in April on the 20th.
Not on call.
I get it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
We totally didn't, happen to plan that. 2 years now, because it was the same last year, wasn't it? Pretty sure it was because of April or what the hell, leap day,
Leap year?
whatever. Shrug.
On
I
27th.
yeah,
I
I'm
don't
gonna look.
remember.
I want to say that it was. I'm gonna go peek back to last.
I want
year
to say
here.
that neither of these were planned. Because I don't think they were.
We just planned real well. Nope,
Yeah, I
never
mean,
mind.
accidental.
We're one day ahead compared to last year.
Okay, that's what I figured. 'Cause 2017 isn't a leap year.
Yeah,
2016
whatever.
is. Anyway, May I believe we have planned as well? No, we do not.
No, that
That's
looks
fine.
Probably gonna be the 18th.
18th?
Yeah,
18th it is. We are good at planning.
indeed.
As
We'll,
what,
we'll
55?
talk about Midwest Gaming Classic.
That's right. That's
Oh,
in
yeah.
April.
Well, I suppose. Well,
Right?
shit. No, we'll talk about that in April anyway because we were going to be there the week before.
Correct. Yes, that's why it was a week after, right? Because it
I
was-
suppose.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Good. We have got some good memories going on tonight.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
But that's about it. Oh, actually, we do have a new stream endpoint
We do.
tonight, which will actually be changing.
Well, I mean, we'll be
after we
adding to
discussed
it.
it. But yeah, to hear the audio only version of it, stream.zerohour productions, zerohour-productions.net will take you directly to the MP3 stream endpoint. When we'll be changing it to listen.zerohour-productions.net, and then we'll be adding watch.zerohour-productions.net,
right on.
which will redirect directly to the Twitch channel,
Indeed.
twitch.tv/zerohourproductions.
Options.
I like that idea that I had. It was like, we should do that. Because then people, 1, will start remembering our actual domain name. And 2, it'll be really obvious which is which.
Yeah.
True. It's a good idea, Brent.
They're all good ideas.
They're all a good
Yeah.
idea. Well, I wouldn't say all.
Well-
That's how we think of our ad hoc ideas,
Yeah, I mean, it starts not so great, and then it advances over time,
Yeah.
and then,
And then
end up
you
with something
eventually
halfway
work your way
decent.
up to a 13 out of 10. I mean,
Yeah,
you know.
IGN, 13 out of 10. Sorry, that's 10 out of 10, right?
Yeah.
That's what they do to everything, pretty much.
Well, 9.5 out of 10 for everything.
What the hell
Why
is
are-
that?
What are you playing over there?
I don't know. All of a sudden, the tab just started playing, and I was like, ah!
I just hear a British voice, I think. or
Yeah,
is it
we'll go
Australian?
with that.
I don't know.
So I was like, where is it coming from?
Like-
Yeah.
It's coming from outside the room.
Oh, dear.
Oh, we're pros. It's
We
fine.
are the most professional you've ever
It
seen
never
or
showed up
heard.
on stream, so people are like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's probably true. although I
yeah, it
can
was
still
not
hear
getting
it.
picked up.
Yeah.
Great,
so
great. Oh, well, the system works then.
yeah,
Yeah.
the system sometimes does work.
Hey, works on more than average, I guess.
I mean,
More
this
than
system,
50% of the
yes,
time.
but
Hey, man, you're still tweaking yours, okay? Like,
I-
you can't expect 100%.
I was just going for a general, like, the system works kind of joke, as in,
Oh.
like, the system in
I see.
heavy air
Yeah.
quotes, yeah.
Oh, right.
That the system.
Yeah, I'm not sure what to think about the rate of that system.
There we go.
All right, around the world, PS4 hackers have used the WebKit exploit discovered in December 2017 to unlock the hardware almost completely.
Wasn't that the same exploit that happened that launched for the Switch? Because that was a WebKit exploit too.
I think so. Maybe not the exact same one, though.
Okay,
But
because they
yeah.
got file system access on the original firmware, which was, of course,
Yep.
patched right away.
Certainly. And they've unlocked the hardware so much that they've managed to make it run PS2 games.
Oh,
Like
gosh.
with the hardware level emulation of PS2
That's
games.
awesome.
fucking rad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did not hear about that. Well, I mean, maybe I had, but I didn't read into it very much.
Yeah, it's really great. However, I do believe that particular exploit has already been patched, but
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
pretty par for the course for the PS4 exploits, I think.
I mean, realistically, though, because my PS4 Pro has been unplugged for months now,
You could probably still do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just need to turn off auto firmware updates because PS Plus, and that's a thing you can do. So, yeah, I can actually do it for you and reboot it so that you don't have to, like, suddenly put your disc in and be like, oh, look, another update.
I see.
Yeah.
Does it
Yeah.
still force you to update to play most recent games, though?
I don't
Like
know.
Nintendo does?
Because, you know, it's done for me, so I haven't
Oh.
had to see that screen
Yeah.
in
Fair.
forever. So, yeah.
Fair.
But PS2 games, though,
Yeah.
Might,
Yeah.
Well, this also reminded me, though, that I do need to pick up a slim PS2 at some point again. I'm so sad that we got rid of yours. That was a
Yeah.
good deal.
Oh yeah, I that slim PS2 that I found at Goodwill for $10.
Yep.
That never happened again.
Shocking.
Yeah.
Speaking of other console hacking stuff, they've managed to get Linux to boot on the Switch.
Yeah. I want to know how.
So do I, kind of.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
Because not that the Switch is a bad console or anything like that, but be able to do more things with it would be kind of neat,
Yeah.
especially in a freaking handheld.
Mm-hmm.
I'm guessing because, you know, it just uses open Bluetooth. You can just be like, oh, look, Linux boots. Let's just pair a keyboard and mouse with it.
I would guess so. I
That
mean,
would be
there's not
neat.
really any other means to go about doing it, right? Since
Yeah.
the controllers are just pretty much straight Bluetooth.
Well, I suppose the screen would be touchscreen, so you could do that.
Yeah, that's true enough.
Yeah.
But of course, with every kind of exploit and hack that comes out for the Switch, there's always tons of people saying, okay, save game backups, please.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would be a good thing. Like, officially, it would be a good thing, but even if it's hacky to get it working would be a real good thing as well.
Now, the real reason behind that exploit is because of the Tegra, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
there was some hardware things that they couldn't patch because of what? All this freaking Spectre and all that other garbage that's still going on.
I don't know if it's necessarily because of Spectre, but it is a hardware-based exploit because of the Tegra X1 boards.
Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something in like the generic NVIDIA hardware that's obviously not going to be patched.
Yeah.
So good work, everybody. Good work, Fail Overflow, I should say. Good work to that group.
Yeah.
They are on point with a lot of the hacks, it seems, as of late.
So, ETA when for homebrew?
Don't know. This hack in particular, I think they said was not quite homebrew ready.
Yeah, it's not as easy as flipping a switch.
Yeah, it's not like full hardware unlock like the PS4 hack.
I just went.
Yeah, it did.
Sorry.
I just kind of skipped past it. I wasn't gonna give it the time of day.
All right, good.
Was not gonna do it, but it's very
Y'all
clever.
just did.
It was very
You
clever.
all just
though.
did.
So, speedruns and speedrun records have been in the news a little bit lately.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
I have
yes.
things to share. Well, a thing to share.
I think we both do for
Yeah.
this sort of thing.
Well, okay.
But two very popular records have been invalidated. First, the 35-year-old record for Dragster on Atari 2600 has been invalidated.
All right. Fuck you, Todd Rogers.
Yeah, fuck you.
you, Twin Galaxies.
Well, no, not fuck you, Twin Galaxies. They're under new management, which so far seems to be doing okay with this sort of thing.
You got a lot of decades
Or
worth
so
of
I've
shit
read.
to go past.
Right.
Yeah.
That's why they're trying to kind of
That
repair
crust.
this whole thing. Yeah.
Fine.
So, anyways, they determined, well, they being folks on the forums and people with actual expertise in detecting these things, that the 5.5,
One.
thank you, 5.51 that he achieved is impossible on hardware.
Yeah.
You know, people have only been saying that for years now. But
True.
okay.
So what started this, investigation this thorough into it? Because I mean,
I'm not quite sure.
or what was the breakthrough? Because if it's 35 years old and people are, were
there was somebody who saw something live, who was either a judge or something for a competition, came forth and shared some information recently.
Was that for the Dragster one or for the other one I'm thinking of?
I thought it was for the Dragster one, but maybe I'm full of shit.
Well, I think the source for the Dragster one was that Todd Rogers had sent in something to Atari.
Yeah.
And they sent him back a certificate without even verifying that it was possible. So it was already kind of for a long time.
Yeah.
And then somebody was actually able to peel through the hardware, reverse engineer opcodes and shit to prove that 5.51 was not possible.
Yeah, in theory, the fastest time is 554. So
yeah,
that's a whole nother frame or two that you can't get. So
people are really digging into this stuff, which is very impressive. It just blows me away how people are able to figure this shit out. It's like, whoa, that's cool.
But none of y'all are factoring in
the human element.
Oh, dear. Speaking of human element,
so break your other wrist.
Yep.
So the other kind of major score run, I suppose, that kind of got invalidated was Billy Mitchell's million-plus Donkey Kong, original arcade Donkey Kong scores.
It made me very happy to see two Goliaths fall.
Yeah. Especially since Billy Mitchell is kind of bombastic and a bit of an asshole.
Aren't they both?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know much about Todd Rogers other than he's kind of a flaming D-bag, but
they kind of go hand in hand, don't you say?
I know a little bit more about Billy Mitchell because I followed that a little bit more closely.
Yeah. I gotcha.
But apparently one of the people that sort of validated Mitchell's score, guess who that was?
Todd Rogers.
Todd Rogers. Very good. Ding, 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 ding.
Oh my gosh.
So
it's
that's
like the
cool.
Illuminati coming together here.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah, massive conspiracy theories for score runs and shit.
Mm-hmm.
So the way Billy got kind of caught out was that the video they took of the supposed event or live event where he did his million-plus score that was kind of in question was found to be stitched together.
Oh, shady.
From multiple runs and not to have run on original hardware. Instead, it was on MAME.
Oh, super shady.
And the only reason they caught that out was because the video that got took at the event, they slowed it down enough to see the difference in the video scans between MAME and actual arcade hardware.
Nice.
Wow.
It's amazing. It was fucking insane. It's just like, great, awesome. Well, good on everybody for pointing that out and figuring it out. Of course, Billy's kind of a top class ass, so he's like, oh, it's not MAME. I didn't know it was MAME. Okay, it's MAME, but blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And it's like, wow, backpedal a little harder there, fuckwit.
There was within the last couple of years like some sort of massive crackdown, I recall, within like the GoldenEye community, because people were submitting stitched runs and stuff all the time.
Nice.
And they got like mega pissed about it, and they actually went through and reviewed a whole bunch of videos and found a whole bunch of cheaters. And so, like, the I forget if it's like called the Elite or something like that, but they have like just page after page of really strict rules now, and it's judged like incredibly harshly. So I kind of wonder if like the same sort of thing is going to start to creep out and kind of become a thing in like other communities.
I'm sure for hotly contested stuff, it certainly will, and it deservedly should. I mean,
anything that gets a lot of attention or a lot of competition. Yeah.
People think, oh, people are getting all worked up about video game times and scores and shit, and it's like, people get worked up about people throwing balls around.
Yeah.
So what the fuck, man? This is not really that much different. It's a different kind of tier of competition and skill and shit like that. And you got to be above board with all of it. Otherwise, you are fucked.
It just, I don't know. It just seems so weird to me that somebody would want to cheat on something like that. But
yeah. And it's unfortunate that, it takes so long to kind of catch that sort of thing out.
Oh, yeah.
But people are assholes.
There was
try to cheat.
There was something with a very popular like Link to the Past run from like the early 2000s that also came under fire too. Because I guess like the the original runner had bragged about it in like YouTube comments or something, and so they took another
that thing that I was just about to talk about.
Oh, maybe is it on your list of things? I didn't think it was that recent.
Well, this is like a this week kind of recent thing.
Oh,
wow.
I'm not talking about this week then.
Oh, okay.
Tell us more,
dear.
because
Since
this is
it's
probably going to be
relevant,
way better than
All
what
right,
I've
we'll
got.
start with the good shit first. So Cosmic has taken back the SMB1 world record for any percent by 4 frames.
It's ridiculous.
Fucking 4 frames.
Wow.
Well, wasn't the previous one just a 1 frame save?
Maybe.
Or one, well, let's see, what do they call it? Shit, it's like a frame boundary or...
A frame rule.
Frame rule, thank you.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a 1 frame rule.
This is 2 frame rules ahead with another glitch. There's like 2 or 3 more frames that could be humanly possible at this point compared to the tasks. So, whatever.
Oh, jeez. That's crazy.
We're waiting for somebody to get the 1-2 block clip like viable in a run. So you obviously have to get it on first try in order to save a frame rule over just going over the top.
Yeah.
But anyway, so that happened. Darby is no longer king of that game. It's weird because I had a dream with Darby in it last night. That was just like some weird, bizarre thing. But like, whatever, prophetic dreams or something. So Link to the Past about that. So there's somebody who's been on the leaderboards for, I don't know what category it was, but her name was Crystal with a lot of S's. And
I do seem to recall hearing very vaguely about this.
yes, so apparently she was stitching together runs.
Ugh.
And has like this weirdly good time and had been at the top of a leaderboard. And a lot of people were starting to bring up some concerns, like other people on the leaderboard. And supposedly she was threatening to dox everybody who was like going up against her.
Oh, God.
Oh, dear.
And let me actually bring up Speedrun real quick here, speedrun.com. And
while you're bringing that up, the one that I was talking about, they managed to catch the guy who had stitched runs because Link to the Past remembers which menu you were looking at when you pause. And so they had found out after one of the transitions, after some time, that it wasn't where you left it. And that's what they found it out on. So it's just the little things, you know.
I don't remember what category that was. Gosh, there's a lot of shit on here. But whatever. Apparently this person used to post fake scores to 2DX. I don't know how you can do that, but it's IIDX, and that to me means 2DX.
Yeah, you say it 2DX, yeah.
Yeah. I wasn't sure if that was the same thing. Beatmania.
Yeah, that's the
whatever.
one.
But apparently she admitted to posting fake scores on that some time ago and whatever else. But apparently the leadership on the SRC leaderboard just decided to take her score down. And I've yet to hear about any of this Docs Fest that might be going on, but that was a thing that happened.
Oh, my goodness.
So, yeah.
Oof.
Enjoy that. But
way to not call attention to yourself.
Yeah.
When you're already under intense scrutiny. Way to not not do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oy. Well, whatever. It's fine. People do that, I guess.
Yeah.
Bleed 2 has received a free update with an endless mode. With randomly generated levels you go until you die.
Oh. I'm not familiar with this game.
I streamed it about 3-4 months ago.
I thought you were going to say 3-4 years ago.
Oh, no,
I was going to be like, shit.
No. It was out in the past year and a half, I want to say.
Yeah, okay.
But it's cool. It's a nice little, very quick pick up and play type game, action platformer.
Nice.
Good co-op. Real fun game to play. So it's good to see more games kind of getting free expandable content or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But it certainly makes a lot of sense for this type of game since it's just a normal playthrough is really like 10 minutes maybe. I don't know.
You can call it free LC.
You could.
Whoa.
Free loadable content?
Yeah, I mean it is.
I mean, I suppose so.
Yeah.
I mean, we're already stretching it by saying that, you know, download, which is one word and, you know, like considered one word and not 2 words, to be the letters DL instead of just DC. So
that's true.
Well, you don't want to piss off the comic nerds.
We're already fudging it.
Well, what how many words is video game? Trust me, you don't want to step into that one.
Well, how many words is speedrun?
Oh gosh.
It is 1, right?
Yes.
Okay.
The initials for
this
video
covers
game
all
is...
of the people who don't know what GDQs are and go into chat and have freaking spell check fix speedrun into 2 words, and then they get lambasted for it.
Womp womp.
Yep. Excellent. Excellent.
But to answer your question, it's 3 letters, VJG for Vidja Games.
Very good. That is an acceptable answer. 6.0 from the Icelandic judge.
Great.
It's topical because of Olympics.
Yeah.
I almost just said topical like ointment, and I would have not had to follow up like that.
No, what? Why?
I don't know. Just things.
I guess on a personal note, I'm now on coffee. Is it pronounced coffee or is it Kofi?
I don't know.
These damn people and their names. Like, why? What is it called?
Maybe Ko-Fi.
Ko-Fi? All right. Ko-Fi is like phonetically proper, right? Wi-Fi,
I
Ko-Fi,
suppose.
Whatever. I'm on Ko-Fi. Woo.
Yeah.
Donate,
say it
support the
Wi-Fi?
stream. I don't say it Wi-Fi. No.
Wi-Fi's.
Hiffy?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they were trying to like Japanese it because that would be kohi.
That's true.
whatever.
It is supposed to refer to coffee, so I'm guessing
Yeah.
it's supposed to be coffee, but whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
It's
Shrug.
fine. Pronounce it how I want because it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
Nobody
also
told me.
free money.
It is. Well,
Ish.
after PayPal's cut.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
They
par
don't
for the
they
course.
themselves don't take a cut, which is particularly nice.
Correct, yeah.
And it also protects your real name.
Yeah, it doesn't ask you for like any additional information
Yeah,
because they
that's true.
act as a proxy.
Yeah,
so.
instead of paypal.me/Tormod, would you like to give money to Shane Jonnet? No.
Ah,
Yeah.
lol. Wamp womp.
Yeah, no.
Now the whole internet knows your name.
Well, it's not like they couldn't have figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty...
Go dox
Not
me,
hidden.
Crystal. Crystal. Whatever.
She'll get there.
Okay.
All right, that's all I got.
All right, let's see what I've got here. Oh, that thing I've been streaming recently that I should have... Yes, I did put it on my list. All right.
Yeah.
Final Fantasy XII, The Zodiac Age, has released on PC, and it had some pretty great sale prices for the first week of 20% off, plus GOG, GMG, whatever.
It was Green Man.
There we go, GMG. Had it on sale for even more, so that was cool. I got
Yep.
it for like, what, $37?
Yeah, it was like 34. We stacked
Oh.
discounts to get that.
Yeah, that was good. And now I'm playing it, and it's a good time. And it's in 60 FPS, which is really nice.
It's very beautiful. in
Compared to the
60
original
FPS.
30.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, it was originally a PS2 game, and
I
then we
know.
moved it to
Yeah.
PS4. They didn't change the engine at all. The company that ended up doing this PC port did a really good job.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, there's some stuff like when you're running at 60 FPS, I found one cutscene that they forgot to add the voices back in. So the subs are there, but the voices aren't. And originally, I guess at launch, the hell am I thinking of? The FMVs were running at double speed. Whoops.
Oh.
So running at 120 then?
Well, I mean,
60,
like-
or
Well,
are they originally
because they were
30?
originally rendered in 30.
Oh,
So
I get you.
yeah. So
Awesome.
it was whatever. But that seems to mostly be resolved now. It's pretty cool. They brought back the PS2 style save menu, which is arguably better than the PS4 one. So, because like you don't have to, it's weird. The PS4 one, you have to fuck around in menus a whole lot to get it to do what you
okay.
want.
Yeah.
PS2 is like, what slot do you want? Save. Done. And that's pretty much it.
Mhm.
And it's so much faster saving on PC. Holy crap. So yeah, it's a very good experience so far. I had never used a PS4 controller on PC before. I literally just plugged it in and it worked. That
Okay,
was
I
the
was
best.
about to say, is it easier than a PS3 one? Because don't you have to dig
Oh,
about with
yeah.
some...
Yeah, it was-
PS3 is
special
about
software
as
or
difficult as
whatever?
you get.
I decided not to fuck around with Bluetooth and just went wired because that way it keeps it alive anyway.
Yeah.
So I just plugged it in and the game's like, cool. And the only thing I had to do is swap my X and O buttons because I don't do it the Japanese way / the
Oh,
FF7
right.
way.
Yeah.
So I did it like the original game was. So OK was
Yeah.
X and cancel was O. So other than that, it behaves the exact same as the PS4 release. Like nothing's different. Like all of like me moving around the analog sticks feels exactly the same as PS4, and that's really cool. So I'm able to stream that in 4K 60 with most of the graphics turned up and still stream at 60 FPS. If I turn like one more thing on, I don't get consistent 60 FPS output. So that's a thing.
Yeah.
But otherwise, yeah, it looks pretty great. The soundtrack is gorgeous.
Yeah, they have what was it? It was the original OST and then
The
the
reorchestrated.
reorchestrated one.
And then they also had another one,
I thought there was only
soundtrack
3
or something like that. No, there was 3. It was OST, reorchestrated, and soundtrack. And I'm like, what the hell's the difference?
Oh.
Are these the ones that you can swap like
Yeah.
live between them? Nice.
Yeah. But I mean, I just keep it on reorchestrated because it's so good. But trying to think of anything else that's really pertinent. Oh, right. So on PS4, there was a way to do RNG manipulation such that you can get Saxxon, which is an invisible weapon with a 1 in 100 chest spawn chance and an even lower chance for that item that you get out of the chest to be the Saxxon. But they found a way to do RNG manipulation such that you can always get it with a setup on PS4 because it's deterministic RNG. RNG.
Right.
Yeah.
PRNG.
And on PC, unfortunately, they base the RNG on something completely different, and it's not as, pseudo.
not system clock, not nothing like that.
It's something weird.
They haven't figured it out.
Well, I mean, they have, but it's not something that you can really manipulate as well as you could before. Before, the setup was you had to save at the beginning of the game where you were still in the tutorial, and you basically kept firing off cure spells on yourself until you get 3 numbers in a row. And then you load the quick save up from where you could get the weapon, and you walk up there. Oh, look, there's this big invisible chest you can't see that you cannot walk into, and it's huge and obvious. Then you wait for this NPC to run up the stairs, and as he's turning around, you open the chest. That was the setup, and it worked.
Oh,
I ended up getting 6 of those bastards. It was great. But apparently now there is a setup on PC, but it involves a program called Cheat Engine.
Wow. There you go.
Well, no, I mean, it's not literally just here. It's going to into your inventory. It basically says it will make the chest spawn 100% of the time, but you have to have the diamond armlet on in order for you to get the diamond armlet pickup for it. But if you're wearing the diamond armlet, it will always give you that drop of that Saxxon.
Okay.
So you have to do some setup for it, and it actually loads the process's RAM into a table and keeps firing values at it until you're done and you can turn it off. And I'm just like, whatever. I'm surprised that's not caught by like freaking anti-malware or something.
That's basically the equivalent of like a game.
It's a trainer.
Yeah.
It's a task for getting the Saxxon.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
So I mean, it's an invisible bow that doesn't make any noise, that has an attack value of like 240 something, which in that game is pretty huge, and you do not need a license to use it. So any class can use it. So it's like, okay, if I really wanted to like totally break the game, I would get some. I'm not at that point yet. I don't feel I should do that until I'm done with the story content. And then if I'm doing hunts and I just don't care, and then fuck it, just do it.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what I did on the PS4 one. Like, I was mostly done with hunts, and I was like, oh, you should try this thing that's really cool. I'm like, okay. And then I got it to work on the first time, and then I made 6 more. Or 5 more, rather. But anyway, FF12, TZA, good shit. Go buy it. The Nintendo Switch has now officially everywhere outsold the Wii U by over 1 million units now.
In lifetime sales, not
yes,
like
lifetime
a month
sales
or something. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so we're cool. Although I did watch somebody playing Mario Maker this week, and it made me kind of break it out again because it looks like it'd be kind of fun. I don't know. It's been a while. I played it for the first week I had it, and then I just kind of forgot about it because the only thing I used my Wii U for was Mario Kart.
I guess that's true.
So it was just my dedicated Mario Kart machine. It's fine.
Well, maybe that's just in time for you to start platformers, right?
I mean, maybe. I could. I want to go back to play like SMB3 again. I want to get good at that game again because I was actually pretty decent when I was a kid. And then I went into modern consoles and the physics all changed, and I was like, fuck it, I can't do this anymore.
Have you been watching any of the SMB3 randomizer?
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
The queen of randomizer, Skybill, is just wrecking everybody, including Pooh and who else during the exhibition match. It was Pooh and Mitch Flower Power, actually.
Yeah.
And she just toasted both of them. I was like, yes! It was so good. She's been super lucky on some of her matches that she arguably should not have won. But she just had like the right items at the right time and got the right pipes and got to the end.
Yep.
So, she's not going to have another match until March because she's just done with all of them for now. She's just waiting for people to catch up.
Nice. Yep. Top tier will do that.
Yeah. So she's been playing that plus the bracket flags for Zelda Randomizer. I think she's out now for the Z1R tournament. Fred Coughlin is going to be doing one of his matches tomorrow night. He's in the Elite 8. So he'll be going at, I want to say, 9 o'clock our time. So that's going to be a match I'm going to want to watch. But anyway, rambling. Both of those randomizers are huge. They're definitely going to have a big presence at the October Marathon, though, because they're going to be there,
Of course.
in theory.
Oh, cool.
So we'll see. Let's see here. Switch Online will launch in November 2018. I guess that's a thing. Still more details are being shared on that, so we'll let you know when we learn more.
Still somewhat ridiculously low price of $20 a year or something like that.
I don't even remember. I
think
saw
it was
online and I was
something,
just kind of like, I'm never going to use this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, speaking of Mario Kart, though, Mario Kart Tour is a mobile game that will be released in March of 2019, initially for free. So we'll see how that goes.
Aren't all those games technically mobile games now?
Well, it's not for the Switch.
Not iOS or Android or whatever.
Oh,
I mean, this
The
one
old
will be.
typical mobile board, right?
So, yeah. Speaking of mobile games, though, FF15 Pocket Edition has actually been getting a lot of really solid reviews, saying that it respects the player's time because obviously it's stripped down content for being a mobile game, but it has a really good pace, and it's actually got all of the main story content, you know, just in a different format. So people are saying that's actually working out pretty well. So I'm really curious what other games can do, like in the RG space, or the RPG space, rather, for a mobile release. I mean, obviously not like the Final Fantasy mobile ones where it's the full game just with stupid graphics. Fucking FF6.
I'm waiting for the Cup Noodles mobile ads to kind of just drop down from above or something.
So apparently
the Cup Noodle ad is amazing.
Can you imagine that shit popping up while you're playing?
Yep. Yeah. What can I say?
People like their noodles.
I guess. I've never had cup noodles, but I may have to at some point. Anyway, Final Fantasy 15 Windows Edition, not the Pocket one, will land on the 6th of March. They have already made a benchmark utility available. So apparently it utilizes NVIDIA GameWorks and stuff. So it'll bring you through some scenarios in the game so that you can tell which graphics settings you should have turned on.
And if you can afford a graphics card by that time, well...
Yeah. The recommended is 1080 Ti.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
So...
Oh,
yeah.
wow. All right.
Yep. So, if you plan on streaming that game, I recommend having OBS recording at the same time as you do the benchmark so you can see what video settings you need to kill off before you try to stream and look like a dumbass like I did with FF12. Because I was holding 60 FPS just fine when I wasn't recording. And then OBS is like, I want like 15% of your GPU, even though I'm not using GPU encoding. And I'm like,
turn off that preview, man.
I did. It didn't do anything.
No, really?
I was so pissed. I turned off that the preview window, and it did absolutely zero for my GPU usage, and I'm really curious on that. So, whatever.
Well, your GPU, I mean, despite the fact that it's not like encoding within the GPU, it still needs to be able to capture a 4K signal at that frequency. So.
Yeah, but it's not my GPU capturing it. It's the data path, which has its own hardware. So... yeah, I'm not really sure what's up with that. And I was doing software encoding, which still looks really good. 3,000 kilobits per second, medium.
I didn't realize you were feeding the data path, the signal back into the data path.
Oh, heck yeah, I am. If I tried to do game capture, window capture, it would totally tank the CPU. Like, that's just a hell of a lot of data to keep pulling in every, 60 times a second. So I'm feeding it out through the receiver back in off of HDMI 2.
Okay.
Where it's being downscaled with that little box down to 1080p.
Okay.
So,
I learned something today.
Yeah, no, I figure I'm going to offload that to hardware as much as I can.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
So anyway, I will continue to research that at some point, but it does look good with the options that I've got turned on. It could look a hell of a lot prettier if I wanted to, but I really wanted that 4K 60 experience, so we got it. Yeah. But to get back to my original point with that, do run the benchmark for FF15 Windows Edition while you're having OBS going, so obviously you can tweak your settings beforehand. The Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy ports will be landing on the Switch and PC this year. So it's no longer a PS4 exclusive, so I'm kind of looking forward to trying that on Switch, maybe. Because I think having that kind of game on a mobile little finger I can play around with would be kind of neat. I have a new domain for my personal streaming things. It is tormod.stream. There are several subdomains like watch.tormod.stream and discuss.tormod.stream, which goes to my Discord. And also tip.tormod.stream because I refuse to call them donations because they're not donations. You are tipping me money. I am not a charitable organization. So like
True
Mr.
enough.
Bond here, I am also on Kohi, whatever. So I have that whole thing set up, and it was rather painless.
It was.
So that
Yeah.
It
was
was
really
very
cool.
quick.
It's a really fantastic service.
Yeah, so I think that's really neat. In speedrun news, real briefly, I got a 1-second PB in Tetris DX40 line. So, woohoo. And it was by accident.
GG.
I was talking about salt.
Yeah.
And not
That's
even the
great.
fun kind of salt. It was
Yeah.
about salt content in my food
Oh.
and how I need to eat salty food earlier in the day, otherwise I can't sleep at night.
Huh.
And then that was on my PB video. And I also paused the gameplay midway through because somebody asked me what track was playing. And it was before we had the thing up on the
Oh,
layout.
right. Yeah.
So I'm glad they accepted that run. It's not stitched, I swear.
Well, I mean, if it goes by in-game time, anyways, right?
Yeah,
It does. Yeah.
So, yeah. So I was just like, hey, it took them like 3
Funny.
days to accept the video, and I was like, oh shit. But it went through. It was good. So we're cool. How about your news?
My news. My phone just blanks too.
Good job.
Good
Good job, Samsung.
Yeah. So, yeah, maybe we're getting a Spyro Trilogy remaster on PS4.
Yeah,
And there's a number of sources like just kind of claiming that, but like there hasn't been any sort of like official word. But
there have been a lot of like consumer surveys, like,
Yeah.
would you buy this thing if it came out?
so it's
That
kind
usually
of
is a sign of things to come.
Yeah, it's kind of
Yeah.
suspected that like if they're gonna announce anything, it's gonna be sometime next month. But yeah, Spyro definitely needs to come back. And it's gonna
I've
be like
never played.
it's a really fantastic 3D platformer.
I just remember it being really cool looking on freaking PS1,
yeah.
right?
It
That was
is-
the original Spyro, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Purple
I
Dragon
think
dude?
the,
Yeah, okay.
the entire isn't the original trilogy all on the PS1?
I don't know.
maybe?
Oh,
Shrug.
that I couldn't tell you.
Yeah, I'm not really sure myself either. It's actually a franchise that I've never played.
It reminded me a lot of Banjo-Kazooie. That's all I could think of.
It does control very much the same way.
Okay.
It was
At least
kinda
from what
that-
I remember.
It was
Yeah.
kind of in that era where everybody needed a mascot of some sort.
Yeah,
Yeah.
fair. Mid-90s. Got it.
But yeah, it's definitely one of the better 3D platformers on the system. I've only ever played the very first, but I would definitely revisit that.
Nice.
Yeah, Monster Hunter World. That got released at the end of January. It was after our previous show, and it turned out to be a smashing success for the franchise. So I'm not a Monster Hunter player myself.
Never played.
But I've kind of wanted to get into it. It's yeah, I'm not really sure how you would explain it other than like hunts in Final Fantasy, but that's the whole game, and there's a lot more involved in like
Strategizing?
strategy and
Yeah, okay.
and, yeah.
I've never played one. I've heard really good things. Every time there's a release for like 3DS or
Yeah.
now the Switch has one too, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I want to say, I think.
Maybe. Yes.
I want to say something like that
Yeah.
just got released real,
I thought it was
too long
of
ago.
the Monster Hunter World variety too, wasn't it?
or maybe it was Monster Hunter 2 or something. I don't
know if it was a
know.
remake or a re-release. I think it was a brand new.
Well, it is a new IP, but maybe I'm not thinking of Monster Hunter. Maybe it's something else.
Yeah.
But there was something that came out recently that everybody was like, "Oh my god!" No, that was Xenogears, Xenoblade, something.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm thinking of. Never
Okay.
mind. My bad.
Hmm.
They always like get crossed in my head, those two franchises, because they look like some of their concept art's really similar. Anyway,
Cool. And I'm a WoW player, and of course I have to talk about it. The new expansion called Battle for Azeroth, the pre-orders opened up, and it took the servers down for a day. That was a whole lot of fun, which is great because the devs account on Twitter had posted, okay, well, you can go to this forum post if you're still continuing to have issues, and it'll explain everything. And I clicked on that link.
and the forum went down.
Yeah, and the forum was down and it said 500 server like
Brilliant.
down or something like that. And I'm all like, well, no shit. Like, we already know that's the problem. But
Well, it explained it.
Jesus.
so that was great. But yeah, it's so they gave you a whole bunch of like goodies. They introduced allied races, which are basically like kind of like prestiging, like how you would essentially play through a game and then earn like some kind of
oh god,
special way to start over.
Yeah.
So you get
like Ragnarok did.
So you get these new races that have like their own backstory. They're kind of related to the races that already exist in the game, but they're a little bit different.
Wait, it's like that for races? Like you come back as a better race? I'm confused.
It's so I'll use like Torn, for example. Torn have been in World of Warcraft for pretty much ever.
They're the cow things, right?
Yeah. So
okay.
if you there's a particular faction in the latest expansion that's called High Mountain, and if you get like the maximum like reputation with that faction, and you complete a quest chain, you get to unlock High Mountain Tauren as a playable race. And for these allied races, you start off at level 20.
Okay, so you'd have to start a whole new character for that. Okay, it's not like
it's not
evolve like a freaking Pokemon or something.
You don't get reborn as this. No.
Yeah, okay. I was just like, huh?
So they did that with there's like Void Elves and some other kind of elf. I forget all of the ones that they introduced, but there's like
17 types of elves already.
Yeah,
so
it's this is World of Elfcraft. So they released the pre-order, and there are 4 allied races that you can choose from, and just based on like the UI and stuff, you can tell that like they plan on adding more of these later. So there's going to be a whole bunch of these kind of like flavor races that you can pick from. So it's going to be kind of cool. They also gave everybody a free level 110 boost so that you can kind of like hurry up and experience the latest expansion before the new one comes out. So, yeah. And then if you get like the deluxe edition, they give you like an extra mount and pet and stuff for like Overwatch and Hearthstone and all of those other Blizzard games.
Because that makes sense.
Yeah.
Sure does.
If you play WoW, you don't play any of the other games, and kind of the same with any of the other Blizzard games. Like nobody plays Overwatch and Hearthstone.
Don't take that needle out.
First hit's free, man.
I'm just saying. So there was that. And then I'm gonna get into some more indie stuff. Vulpine, that Fox with the Sword game that I was talking about last time, they're funded now.
It's funded.
Yeah.
Yay.
Last I checked, that they were like 23.4, and their goal was 22,000. So
cool.
So cool. They made it.
Support local devs, everybody.
Yeah,
indeed.
They
of which there are tons, apparently.
They're very local. They're from Madison.
Nice.
So that's really fantastic. And then there was phone went out again. The Red Strings Club also came out since our last show. And that had come out via Devolver. It looks kind of like the old like 2D LucasArts kind of games, where you kind of like direct your character around, sort of narrative. But there's also like bartending mini games and stuff like that in it, and kind of like a cyberpunk atmosphere. It looks really cool, and I'm kind of thinking about picking it up. It's like $15 right now or something, I think. So, yeah. And then there's the last game that I want to bring up is Meanders. I'm not really sure how you say that.
I'm pretty sure that's Meanders, but I could be wrong.
It was released on the 7th of this month. It's a first-person super fast platformy survive to the exit game from indie devs Atomic Breath. And that's you can get that for a $5 right now. So it's it reminds me of a game that you had played before, which is basically like extremely precise, fast first-person parkour kind of. Maybe not even parkour, but like it was a first-person platformer that you had to essentially like race to the end.
Photonica? Was it kind of wireframey?
It was very solid color.
Lovely Planet?
That sounds correct.
Okay. Wait a sec. Was that the 3D one where you were like bouncing through a bunch of shit and you had to avoid enemies and
Yep.
Yeah, I remember you playing that before you moved.
Yep.
Yeah, that was a cool game.
That is what this most reminds me of. It's a lot more intense than that.
You should revisit that at some point. I would totally crash that stream.
Yeah, if you liked Lovely Planet, I think you're really going to enjoy this.
I played Lovely Planet Arcade. It's kind of the next advancement of it, really.
I had no idea.
Same kind of deal.
Yeah.
That's cool though. I kind of like that stuff. I'm guessing you're still playing Celeste. That's why I haven't stuck around.
That's bleeding into the next section, man.
Yeah.
I understand, but yeah.
So, and I believe that's all I've got for any major news right now.
There's a lot of cool stuff this month.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that Red Strings Club I just read up on a bit myself the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
A lot of good cyberpunk games.
Oh,
lately.
yes.
My goodness, that is a genre that you didn't think was underserved, but hell, there's a lot of good ones out there.
Yeah.
Yep.
It kind of seemed to me for a while that it was a very played out, but I think it was more or less like they played the heck out of a very specific kind of storytelling.
Yeah.
And didn't really build on cyberpunk itself as kind of like an environment very well.
Yeah, there were very specific routes and angles of cyberpunk that
Yeah.
were very saturated.
Yep.
And there were a whole bunch of new ones that played different stuff. It was like, oh my god, this is fresh and exciting now.
Yes, it makes me excited for cyberpunk, and I didn't think I was ever going to say that this decade, so...
Everything old is new again.
Yeah.
Oh wait, this is actually new still.
Yep, a new spin on a classic atmosphere.
Yep. All right, time for some Toonskis.
Indeed. We'll start with Argus's Lair by Rebecca E. Tripp from The Legend of Zelda: A Link Between Worlds.
Then a remix from Seiken Densetsu 3 entitled Moonlight Dance by Battistella.
And then finally, another remix from Rebecca E. Tripp of a song from Final Fantasy IV titled The Universe.
All right, we've been playing a lot of good shit, right?
Nope. Not because
That's right. Sorry.
You played more games than you had on the list.
Because
Because we were here for Winterine Miss.
you got a real good mashing thing going
Yeah,
on.
right.
Literally the claw grip.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they left
Yeah.
me with these 2 fingers, so I can just like,
Perfect.
yeah.
Great.
The only 2 fingers you need.
Yep. Great. Anyway, I played Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. We played a little bit at Winterine Miss. I want to play some more of that on my own. Also played some Quiplash 2 at Winterine Miss. That was fun. As I mentioned earlier, Final Fantasy 12 The Zodiac Age, a PC release this year, just came out this month. Good stuff. Boss Monster was the card game that 006 brought.
yeah.
That's right.
So
That
yeah,
was a good one. I
That-
enjoyed that a lot.
that was a good time. Eon came over shortly after Winterine Miss and had me play what she thought was a good game, which was Bulletproof Software Tetris. So BPS Tetris. That was the Japanese Tetris that got released on Famicom.
Oh, okay.
And
Is that
The
different
very
from,
unfortunate Tetris.
different from the
Yeah.
Game Boy Tetris,
Oh,
apparently?
well, I
No,
mean-
that was Bulletproof Software, I believe.
Was it?
I think so.
Oh. You rotate with the fucking down button on the D-pad and
Why?
you drop, instant drop, not a soft drop, with A.
No, why? Stop.
She's like,
Yeah.
go ahead, figure it out. And eventually I did. And then she got mad because I got good. So I was like, yeah.
Oh, no.
jerk. Then I was made to transition into Tetris 2 plus Bombolus. So that was a thing. Yeah, that was... Is that still on NES? Wow. Yeah, I suppose it was. All right. Yeah, I didn't switch flashcards that night, so it must have been. And then obviously I played more Tetris DX. That was a Game Boy Color release from 1998. I had a 1-second PB that brought my 40 line down to 1 minute and 31 seconds. As I was talking about Salt. But trying to think, have I played anything else this month? Do not believe so. How about you and your short list?
Basically been World of Warcraft, especially after they announced an pre-order for the new expansion. DDR, of course. And yeah, pretty much all of the other stuff that we had played at Winterine Miss. Not a whole lot of new things since last show. I've been out for about half of it.
Yeah, I suppose it's been 11 days now since you had the cast put on.
Incidentally, WoW is one of those games where I can actually play one-handed for the most part, especially with the Corsair mouse that I have.
That was by design.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, with the fancy keypad on it or whatever.
Yep.
Yeah, so you don't have to be like, plonk, which macro? Plonk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And macros all up my thumb.
They just come up with some new and clever macros.
Yeah.
That's true.
I also have to come up with some for my face.
Or get one of them the footboard things or whatever.
Oh, that's
Yeah, you need
know-
organ pedals. That'd be fine. Yeah. Heck, we can even repurpose those for splits,
Yeah.
I actually thought about getting like
Yeah.
a halfway decent set of
like MIDI pedals.
not MIDI pedals, like actual flight sim pedals.
Oh, okay.
Like how
Like
do
actual analog control. That'd be so cool, but they're so goddamn expensive.
Yeah,
how
but
do I
what
use
would
my
you
special
do?
ability?
It's
Oh,
just
just
another
press
input.
A flat. With your foot.
Yeah, but don't be flat-footed.
Ah.
Gotta keep them sharp.
Don't be flat. Don't be natural. Or don't be sharp. Just be natural. Ah.
Yikes.
That joke in my yearbook from like my 7th grade civics teacher. I was like, get out.
Have you seen this is a little bit off topic? Have you seen some of the meme images going around with how to do various like arcade fighter moves using various circular things?
No.
Oh,
I've
it's
not.
great. There's been some with color wheels and some with the
Oh,
the
no.
Brady Bunch square.
What the
and-
shit?
I know exactly right. It's fucking great.
That does
Oh my
sound
gosh.
like it has a lot of potential.
Yeah.
Like quarter circle forward is
Yeah.
the different. God, it's so dumb.
That's
But it's the
awesome.
best.
It kind of reminds me of like the really, well, when I was young, I didn't understand this, but the fucking blitz input on FF6. Because you
Yeah.
know that the
Mm,
SNES gamepad is totally 8 directions. No.
Yeah. Well, the part that sucks about that is like I'd been a fighting game player, like Mortal Kombat and Street Fighter especially before that, and I could never get the blitz moves to work, and that's before I realized that actually it only looks like quarter circle, but you have to kind of fudge it. Like, a diagonal is either down or
left.
Yeah,
yep.
whatever.
So a lot of my moves are now just blitz, down, left, blitz.
Yeah. It's
We're
like,
good.
Don't do quarter circle, you're going to have a bad time.
Which does make me want to go back and play FF6.
Yeah.
I did say that I was going to go and actually start working on Brave New World. Huh.
There you go.
Yeah.
Put that on the list.
Yeah. The oh god, more FF list. Yeah.
It could be an FF marathon all on your own.
Yeah. It'd probably be about a month long. Don't sleep, don't eat. It's fine.
It's better than the 2-week Bat and Kaidos run or whatever it was.
What is that, 100%?
Really, really long marathon that they based everything else around.
Well, it's the one and only speed run on that leaderboard, probably.
Yeah, well, I don't know, actually.
Oh, no.
I didn't actually look at the board for it, but it wouldn't surprise me if there was more than one.
You know what they should do is they should do it as a tag team so that they don't have to make it a segmented run.
I don't think it was a segmented run.
Holy shit.
No.
How?
I think one part of it was literally leave the game on for a week straight to get one section of it.
Really?
Like to get an item or some bullshit like that.
Oh,
yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it wasn't segmented. I don't know.
Huh. All right. I will
it's
just
really
take your
strange.
word.
You
for
can
it.
watch some of the other shit that's going on during the marathon for it though.
I don't know.
Some of it's kind of entertaining.
Was it? Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Anyways, I finished up Sublevel Zero Redux as an expansion to Sublevel Zero. Great shit. I love that game so much. The 6 Degrees of Freedom genre is really coming back with a vengeance too, which is just chef kiss. The best, or auth very tasty, or whatever.
Yeah, that.
There you go.
Great.
Play to the crowd. So that's all kind of done and put to bed until I pick it up again because it's a really fun game. And most recently, I've been working on Celeste.
Yeah, you have.
This
which
is
is why I've not been in your streams.
Yeah,
mostly.
no, I understand that you don't want to spoil it for yourself, which is fine, which is perfectly fine. But now I am a grizzled veteran of the game, so whenever
have you
play
considered any speedruns of it yet? Because I can tell you that Canada tops the board.
Yeah, well, duh, home field advantage, of course.
Well, yeah. One of them being Hornlets, actually.
Yeah. I've seen a couple of his entries on the board there. I don't think I could speedrun it myself because it gets me too salty.
Yeah.
It really does. Just for a brief example of that, I spent an hour and change doing one section of it. Just like one
To discover a really simple way to get through it?
No.
Okay.
To do like one of the legit hardest things in it.
Sure.
Took me an hour or so one night, and I couldn't even finish it that night because it was like going on 3 hours plus. I'm like, oh god, I gotta go to bed. I gotta go to work tomorrow.
Yeah.
So then, of course, the next session is like 10 minutes. Son of a bitch.
Yeah.
And then I repeated that section to do an even harder version of it, and that took another hour to kind of get down, but I actually finished it, which is really fucking good. But
very nice.
It is a game that makes me very salty in certain sections, but it is also a very well put together game. So kudos to Matt Makes Games et al. For doing that sort of thing. It's critical acclaim is well earned.
Good.
Well, very well earned. I am unfortunately done with it on stream now, though, because I could put another week into it, but it would be a week of replaying the same section probably a couple hundred times.
Yeah.
Which, is fun for me, but probably not for many other people.
Yeah.
So
it goes.
Yeah, that's how it goes. And next week I'll be starting up Hollow Knight, since that was very graciously gifted to me by one of my regular viewers. So thank you, Omega Weapon.
Nice.
Appreciate that. Because I had no idea what I was going to start after this, because I'm so drained. I cannot think of what game to do next. Just let me recharge from this a little bit, please. But besides that, I've also been playing a little Smash Brothers Melee, a little back to classics type thing.
Nice.
Oh man, I forgot how fun that game was.
Yeah.
It's so fluid and smooth, despite being 3 generations old now.
Yeah. Well, no.
GameCube, Wii U, Switch. 4? 3 and change. At least 2 in Smash Bros.
Well, Switch doesn't have a Smash.
Yeah, it does. Or no, not Switch. I'm sorry. Wii U does.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just
We
Wii
did.
U and Wii.
Yeah, Wii U and Wii. But
Yeah,
I'm
so
thinking
it's two.
console generations.
Oh, I see.
Thinking,
Okay. I was like, I don't think so. Because because Wii U and 3DS kind of shared the same one.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Well, if they ever get one out there for Switch, I might have to buy a Switch. Oh, damn it. Oh yeah, it was fun to play that again. That is also a game that makes me very salty sometimes.
Yeah.
Kind of silly.
Mhm.
Kind of silly sometimes. Of course, typical weekly randos for LTTP.
Mhm.
Almost had a sub 2 on normal open the other night.
Was that the second run?
No. The second run was really trash that night. The first run was fantastic.
Because that was the one that I was there for. Because I remember guessing 17 again, and I got it again.
Yeah, that's true. But that one shook out to a little bit south of 230.
Yeah.
At the end.
Okay.
My PB is now like low 2.
Yeah, it is. Okay. Well, I didn't get to see the God run of yours, but
God run. Oh,
well,
man.
for you,
it was
you're
pretty
improving.
good. It was pretty good. I fucked up a few places that could have made it easily a sub 2, but
yeah,
that's rando for you.
pretty much.
And then, of course, Assault Android Cactus speedrun practice. I had a pretty good set of runs this past weekend.
Plus, you played some at Winter Miss.
Huh?
Yeah, you did. You and Kevin.
Oh, that's
And
right.
Jeff.
Yeah.
Or you and Jeff, not you and Kevin.
Yes, me and Jeff. That's right, because he was
Yep.
there sooner. Yep. But last weekend, I managed a run 7 seconds off of PB for Coral, and
Nice.
then let's say like 9 seconds off of PB for shit. What
Cactus?
did I play?
You
It was Cactus.
Yeah,
You're right. It
right
was
on.
Cactus.
because I was all like, Holly, though.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think there was one major fuck up that could have made it a really solid PB, but then, of course, major fuck up, and then it didn't happen.
Yeah, you took it down
So,
a
like,
couple times, I want to say
yeah.
it was. Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I think it was mostly in the Coral run. My Coral run is all over the place. Like, I'm 40 ahead at the end of Zone 4, and then
So your sum of best must be really
crash and
fucking
burn.
weird.
it is. Like, my Coral
Yeah.
sum of best is 48,
Oh, okay.
and then my Cactus sum of best is like 46. I'm like, oh, jeez. That's never going to happen.
yeah.
Oh, man. If only. Yeah, that's about it. How about some more Toonskis?
Cool. All right. Let's see here. Let's go to Samba del Anjos by Bowler Hat and the Conservatorium Maastricht Big Band from Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
And a remix from Mega Man 5 entitled A Crookman's Eyes by Night Swim.
And I've got a remix from Banjo Kazooie by Tyler Gill called The Last Laugh.
right, we got us
Little-
some good ass designs tonight.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Well, it's a
And-
return to form for all
There
of
we
us.
go.
It's in no way representative of our greatest game interests here. No way.
Certainly not playing to our own individual strengths here.
Not at
as,
all.
Ad hoc designers.
I may as well start because mine's the most ridiculous. At least the name is. So I made an action RPG, as I do. It's been a while. The title of which is Dying Planet, Assault on Valis.
Aluce.
Whatever. Valuce. Whatever. It's just a cool name that I randomly came up with. It's going to be a solo or two-player cooperative campaign. Input method is controller or keyboard and mouse, but who the hell uses that for an RPG? Graphic style is realistic this time. Audio style is orchestral, electronic, and whatever the hell suits that zone. So it could be all sorts of cool things. Industrial stuff has been kind of on my mind lately, so I definitely want some of that in there. Point of view is either first or third person, depending on whatever mode you toggle for your camera. The story. All right. The world is slowly dying. Each day, some part of the landscape withers and decays, leaving nothing but bleak emptiness and the hint of former life. In its campaign to achieve dominion over the planet, the Evolution Engineering Corps extracts heat from the world's core and nutrients from its lands, all to power their menacing technology and perverse ambitions.
I've never played this game
Wait a
before.
minute.
Never mind. A small band of fearful yet optimistic rebels finds a new kind of technology, one that seems to grow with care and nurturing as life does, that stands a chance to quell the tactics of the VEC.
In a world.
Yes, indeed. The hook here is these weapons and modules, while powerful and capable of achieving the objective of the story, begin to slowly sap away at the life force of those who use them without their knowing. So they grow and evolve over time, but they also suck your life away. So that's a story plot hook.
So when you level up, do you not gain HP then because your life force is getting sucked away?
You might not know that. The player
Oh.
might not know that.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So the inventory in this game consists of various tiers of weaponry, curatives, weapon modules, sometimes evolutionary, sometimes standalone, and armor. Typical, RPG wares. The mechanics in this game: the weapons have base tiers. However, modules can be added to them, which will add stats, properties, or abilities. Over time, these modules on the weapons gain experience and can be removed and transferred to higher tier weapons. This is the only way that modules can be added to the higher tier weapons. They must first be leveled on lower tier weapons, which encourages you to use some of the lower things throughout the game instead of just immediately going up to the higher tier stuff, because it's not going to be as good without those modules. Let's see here. This forces players to use let's see here. If they choose to use modules, yeah. In some cases, you might not want to, because if you're in a certain area where it has an adverse effect, or if they reverse the effect of the modules or something, it could actually be a detriment. So you might want to remove them at that point. It really depends on the area. The better utilized the modules are, the more quickly they rise in rank and experience, akin to FF2. So the more effective they are at their particular use, the better that use will become. The objective in this game is you unlock the potential of organic weapons technology to overthrow the corrupt political system enslaving the world, all while solving the riddle of life sap before the rebels are annihilated.
Non-GMO short sword.
Too late. So weapon modules, gaining experience and having the potential to be added to or whatnot, are kind of the core concept that I wanted to go for. Obviously all RPGs have a similar story. What is it, like the 7 stories of the world are just retold in different ways, whatever that case is. It's going to be more of that. We'll make something, a little more unique other than FF7. But, I mean, yeah.
Oh, I got an FF6 vibe out of it too. But
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
the same thing.
I was thinking totally this is not Avalanche at all.
Yeah,
Nope.
like before you started getting into they found a new source of power. I'm like, oh, this is exactly Final Fantasy VII
It's
to
not
the
quite
letter.
Mako, but yeah. It's not, yeah. I want to do something similar, but obviously not the same. So I'll have to throw some other things in there. However, I really liked the module thing. It actually gave me more of an FF13 vibe. because you could use what the hell was it in that game? You basically had all these spare parts and you could synergize, I think it was.
Yeah.
Like you ended up throwing a bunch of these parts together, and if you leveled it up with enough parts, that would give you the option to have a different type of weapon form. So it was actually really neat how they did it in that game.
Yeah, your weapons just kind of like Katamari'd a whole crap ton of other parts, and it just became this like blob o weapon, but it was like more powerful.
Yeah. Like it can add some crazy
not
stats and
visibly.
abilities, basically. But there, like, in some ways, you can actually end up with 3 different types of top tier weapons based on whatever stats you wanted.
Yeah.
And my thought was, you know, that's really cool that you spent all of this money and time and grinding to get all these items, and then you can never use them again if you want to move to a different weapon. I think that's shitty. So we should be able to remove the modules that make those weapons really cool and then transfer them to other weapons where they can continue to grow. Especially when it's based on, you know, this weird mechanical, organic kind of thing going on. So they themselves would be able to grow, essentially. You're changing the soil, essentially. So I'm really excited for this type of thing, and I think it's going to be really cool. And I really want that plot hook to be like super momentous, I guess. Meaning like, hey, so we're doing this thing, except something. Like I've got my leg's falling off, not quite, but like some
Wow, you better get that checked out.
some weird thing that like some main character type is like hiding from the rest of the party because they don't want the rest of the party to think that they're going, or that they're like gonna die or something. So they just keep pushing forward until something really bad happens and somebody catches wind of it and they're like, oh god, what's going on? Why didn't you tell us? Yeah, whatever. That kind of shit. Or, you know, plague or whatever the hell might happen.
So the whole life sapping thing reminds me of pretty much the only game I've ever seen do this, is where you use the weapon or whatever and it ticks off your maximum HP every time you do it.
Isn't that kind of like, oh god, what the hell was that game that came out on GameCube that was the weirdest thing? It was the thing that Link was in, and everybody was like, why are you in that game?
Soul Calibur?
Yes. One of their swords, wasn't that like it actually sapped away your health the more you used it? I swear that was like one of those swords.
There was a plot line that was kind of like a sword that was inherently evil, and it caused everyone who had used it to become
it
evil.
would corrupt them, yeah.
But that was just a story point, not necessarily anything to do with the
Got
fight.
it. Okay, well, that's what kind of reminded me of. Okay,
Yeah. But anyways, I think it's Mega Man Battle Network 3 or 4. I think where one of the items you would get would tick off one of your max HP every time you used it, but it was super powerful, so of course you want to use it, but
there's a balance.
Adverse long-term effects.
Indeed. And I'm assuming that was permanent.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So I never used it, of course, because you know I tend to play things pretty straight in those sorts of games.
Yeah.
I do like stuff like that, where like you can kind of, you know, sort of way like, well, I kind of need this advantage right now, but there's like a permanent detriment to it. There was a roguelike called Castle of the Winds from the 90s. It sort of had that where like you could cast spells.
Wait, was that a roguelike?
It
really?
was, yeah. It was basically a graphical version of Rogue.
Jeez, I didn't realize. I thought I could never get very far in it, so maybe I just never kind of connected the dots. But
so in that game you can cast spells that will take you below 0 mana, but it would have a permanent detrimental effect on your max HP.
I did not know that.
So like you could just kind of like oh shit.
Oh, they're pulling a freaking Yu Yu Hakusho then. Okay. Like, okay, that game was, you know, about using
this predates
key.
That.
Well, I know that, but I'm saying like just if you wanted an example, it's like they had to use key in order to like focus their energy and fight all these demons and whatnot. But if you ran out, you can actually tap into your own fucking life force and will permanently damage you in a way. But I mean, it's kind of like that.
Okay, I get you.
I like that sort of thing.
That show is really cool. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Freaking high school.
Well, since we're on the subject of weapons, then. My game is based pretty much primarily around weapons as well.
Fantastic. I wonder what type of genre that might be.
Exactly.
There could be many types of genres.
Everybody sit
Two
down.
Thumbsticks, maybe? I don't know.
Everybody sit down. Make sure you're just properly situated.
Wait, hold on.
There we go. All
Okay.
right, everybody prepared? I made a twin stick shooter.
Holy shit!
What?
I know, really reaching beyond the veil here a little bit. Anyways, 2D likely side view twin stick move and shoot action platformer.
Nice.
Based very primarily around configurable weapons. 2 to 4 player, maybe even beyond 4 player, really, competitive type shooter. Everybody starts with the same number of quote unquote points that they can allocate to their weapons. You can use these points to allocate to different aspects, such as a number of projectiles. If you want to make a badass spread shotgun, you can do that. Or if you want a single shot sniper, you can do that.
My mind went to spreadsheet.
No. Spreadsheets are not badass.
Damn.
Please.
No Easter eggs to play Spy Hunter. Okay.
Yeah.
No. Was it Spy Hunter?
Oh yeah, there was totally a Spy Hunter Easter egg in Excel like 97.
I know there was an X-Wing one in one of the Excel versions, but I don't
Nice.
remember what it was. Anyway, so number of projectiles, the distance your shot will travel. There's some damage fall off at extreme distance. The power of each shot, which affects damage, chance to stun, the amount of knockback, the accuracy. So you can have the longest distance shot in the world, but if you don't put any points in accuracy, it's going to be really fucking hard to hit anything.
Mm-hmm.
And
My
the rate of fire.
spleen.
Yeah. Head shot, spleen shot.
Yeah.
Close enough.
Yeah.
Topping out at a single aspect will yield smaller gain, but then again, you might have the longest distance shot out there. That might play to your advantage. You can build up to 3 presets prior to the start of a single round, and you can quick swap between those presets at any time during the round. However, you're limited to 1 swap per every 5 seconds, so you can't just keep cycling through and really fucking everybody over super hard. The kind of converse to this is that everybody can see what your presets are prior to the start of the round. So while everybody's building, you can see what everybody else is building, so you can kind of try to counterbalance everybody.
There's the metagame. All right.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, while you're playing, the preset you're currently using is somehow indicated on your player as well.
Oh, okay.
So, hey, that guy's got his preset A up. Oh, I better switch to my preset C to counterbalance it.
So now it's gonna be weapon swap the game.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of thinking like, preset A by itself doesn't seem to mean anything. Would you like replace it with symbols or something like that, or a collection of symbols that was sort of like indicative of what it was?
Indicate what it was.
Yeah.
I thought
I'd say
about
if you
that.
did that for like how which ones weighted the most or something like that, you can have that
Yeah.
kind of icon maybe.
Perhaps, but maybe then it's more of a mind game during the setup screen where you got to have a little bit of memory going on too. Like,
Yeah.
oh, this
I
dude's
suppose.
preset A is red, and his red was long
I
sniper
see,
shot
I
or
gotcha.
something
I
like
see.
that. Oh, I better remember that. Oh shit, I forgot what preset B was. Oh, I'm dead.
Damn
Oops.
it! Now it's another game of memory.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of roguelike in that you're
Yeah.
quaffing potions to figure out what they are, but
Yeah. Okay.
it's
okay.
weapon presets.
I got you.
Yeah. 15 seconds at the start of the round to examine other players' loadouts while they're making it. During the round, blah, blah, blah. Other indicators already talked about that. All right. Power-ups are available during the round. Temporarily add weapon effects with reduced overall damage, such as poison. Projectiles cause damage over time. Ice, projectiles slow down enemies. Fire, projectiles leave damaging trails. Quick shot, projectiles are much faster. Tank, projectiles cause much higher knockback, but are a little bit slower. Temporary alterations to current weapon preset, such as doubling a specific stat, which will be indicated by some sort of other symbol over the top of them, like quad damage or double jump or something like that. Typical shooter fare.
Not gonna say it. Okay.
What?
Yeah?
Quad damage.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's like
Quad damage.
there we go. Perfect. As well as power-ups that will temporarily alter player movement with overall reduced weapon stats. So higher movement speed or a dodge technique where you can do a quick dodge where you're invulnerable to fire while you're dodging, but you then become immediately vulnerable once you stop moving. And stun and knockback resist when you pick up that certain power-up.
Nice.
And that's about it. I like dealing with crunchy systems and their interactions, and I feel this is pretty damn crunchy.
Yeah.
Fibrous.
Fibrous, good crunch.
That's right.
All right. It's like a breakfast cereal.
So are you thinking like you just kind of have all of this to allocate up front, and you don't really like earn anything additionally? It's just really up to you how you want to distribute these then.
Correct. Round to round. I can see like longer series of rounds, maybe giving you a couple extra points in between rounds, but probably nothing merit-based.
Okay.
Or maybe kind of reverse merit-based. Like if you're really knocking the shit out of everybody for a round, you get maybe 2 less points the next round to allocate.
Big
kinda
head
balance it
mode.
out. Yeah.
Sort
Sort of like
stuff
that.
like that.
But it's kind of hard to balance that because you could have like a really lucky round and then get just an absolute shaft
Yeah.
in the next
Yeah.
round. So
I could
wanna-
see this being like super ultra competitive, and I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'd watch you play it.
Oh, damn it.
I don't know. I kind of find it amusing when like games start to shit on people who are doing extremely well compared to everyone else, like Mario Kart.
Screw you, I've got the honker.
Yeah, I can see it kind of working out the same way Towerfall sort of does it, where if you start doing really shitty, you get very small perks at the start of each round.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Like, I wouldn't want it to be super unbalanced where,
Well, yeah, of
oh, the
course.
best person gets like one shot and the last person gets like a fully automatic death rifle or something like that. It's like, yeah, exactly. Well, gee, that balanced it out really damn quick, didn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yikes.
I think over enough time that would be kind of fun. Like just to have, after so many rounds being fucked, like eventually something big would happen.
Right, yeah.
Just to like get the game moving. But I mean, if you could survive that kind of thing, then you must be pretty god tier.
Yeah,
just saying.
exactly, right?
You'd really have to play to the environment or whatever just to avoid being hit.
Yeah, you earn your kudos at that point. So,
Indeed.
I don't know. I didn't think for very much for the long game. Just want to keep these rounds short.
You got to make a kill screen.
Ah.
It definitely sounds like one of those things you just sort of jump into, and it's just very arena, really short games.
Mhm.
That is in the description, yeah.
Yeah.
Arena.
Did I put
Yeah.
that?
You
I
literally
did.
put arena.
Arena shooter. Yeah,
Yeah,
I sure
okay.
did.
I did not read that part. Okay.
That's all right. I'm just like, yeah, that's exactly
that's
as
what I did.
advertised.
That's what I did.
I like games like that because it's, like it's something that you could just kind of like, hey, I got, like a half hour, an hour to kill.
Yeah, you could. Huh.
Yeah.
You
That
do a
wasn't
few
even
rounds.
intended.
So
Yeah.
yeah.
And then that
ha!
And
rounds.
that hour turns into 2 hours, and then 3
Yeah.
hours, and oh shit, I got to go to bed, and then
You
4 hours.
forget to go to work,
Yeah.
and oh shit, I
It's
guess
like,
I'm taking PTO
Yep,
today.
I guess I'm sick. Sick. of
Worth
work.
it because I kicked all that ass. So
That's right.
True that. You got the blood of your enemies in your hands.
yeah. All right. So, mine is surprise. It's a rhythm game.
Oh, I didn't get a chance to sit down.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Thump.
Well, you still got an opportunity before I dig too deep into this.
Okay.
Ah.
It's a rhythm game.
Oh shit! Oh, be still my beating heart.
All right. So, this is a twin stick rhythm game. So a little bit of a departure of how I would normally do it, like have some buttons, mash them to the beat of the music. This is kind of like a cylindrical well type game. So you're looking top down into this well.
Oh, that.
Yes.
Okay.
What, Tempest?
Well.
That kind of perspective, yeah. So you you have these little pips. They're like little indicators that they kind of show up to the beat of the music and stuff, and they originate from the center of the well, kind of like they'll just sort of fade in from the darkness there, and you'll see them come up along the sides of the well, and you control two sleds. So each analog stick, it will control one sled that's kind of like you can control it around the perimeter on the top of this well. And the idea is you will move the sled to wherever there's like some kind of marker, pip, or whatever, and that's essentially how you are expected to perform this game, I suppose. So you move the sled basically wherever it indicates that it should be at any given point. Some of them will also require the shoulder buttons to be tapped. So like you'll move it into position, and then like you'll see it approach the upper rim of like the cylinder, and you just tap the shoulder button to the beat of the music. And that's you'll be graded on how accurate you are on doing that. Let's see. There are markers where you have to hold the sled in like a particular position in the cylinder for a particular, like you just have to have it there for this amount of time. And I called them spiral markers because they can move. You'll see like a trail of how you're supposed to move your sled around the perimeter over time. And it kind of looks like a spiral coming out of the center because of, let's say for a couple measures and want you to move it from like the right side to the left side, and you'll just kind of like, see it sort of spiral from the right to the left as it comes out.
Quarter circle.
Yeah. when you're moving these, they can overlap. Some patterns will require it, and I'll get to that in a bit. The two sleds that you control are they're different colors, so they could be like orange green, orange blue, pink yellow, just some other combination of colors that are really easy to immediately discern. And the pips that come out of the center are going to be colored accordingly. So you can't, you have to make sure that not only do you have your sled in the right place, but it's the right color for that too. They can't be moved directly across the play field. So like if you're on the left side, you can't just hold right and have it go right. Like you actually have to rotate your analog stick to get it around.
Is there some delay as it moves from place to place then? It's not just an instant.
I think that it's the movement speed should be pretty
rapid, I would
pretty
guess,
rapid,
but maybe
yeah.
not instant.
Yeah. Like it's going to prevent you from just being like left, right, and just kind of skipping all around and stuff like that. But you will see it just very, very quickly snap into wherever you hold it. Yeah, in order to get from the left to the right, you just either go down right or up and then right. So just kind of like it'll follow you wherever you're holding the stick. You just can't go across the center. And so let's say that you have a sled that's orange and a sled that's green. For all of these different color combinations, if you need to have both of your sleds in the same position, then those markers will show in white. So, for example, you might have like a green one on one side and an orange one on the other, and then later on in the song you'll see them kind of like come together for like a white one. And so you'd separate them for those two individual colors, and then after those are done, you would bring them together to hit the white one.
So regardless of the individual colors of the sleds, it's always going to be white for a combo?
Yeah. Okay. And for ones that are white, it is mandatory that both of them are in the same position.
Gotcha.
So like you can't just get it with one or the other. It has to be both. Let's see. You also let's see. There's also obstacles to avoid. So there are going to be spikes that come out of the center. Those should be avoided by all sleds at all times. Otherwise, you will, take a hit to your life bar. And getting into the life bar, the life meter drains as those hits are taken by spikes, or if you miss those little markers that you're supposed to have, like your sled as it approaches from the center, like at a given point. So, like let's say that you totally miss something coming out of the center, you'll take a hit to that the life bar of the sled that is intended to receive that. So if it was a green one and you miss a green one, the life bar for the green one will decrease. They have individual life bars. And when both meters are completely empty, the stage is failed. Essentially, like you don't have any sleds, you can't actually match anything. So when one of the sled's life meters is extinguished, all of the further losses of life for the sled that's gone now affect the one that you have remaining, which means you're going to continually like lose health for like all of the ones that are just simply being missed. Now, early on, if that happens, it's probably going to render the stage impossible, and that's by design. But what this allows you to do is just sort of like if you get really close to the end and it's getting extremely difficult and it's just, a whole bunch of shit just kind of thrown at you, like it kind of gives you a moment right at the end to just kind of fudge it. You're like, well, I'm already kind of there and I lost the sled. See if I can survive like the next few seconds before the song ends.
Is there any way to get a lost sled back?
I didn't build anything like that in. But it could be. Based on this next mechanic that I'm going to explain. So consecutive successful play scores combo, so your combo will increase as you continually hit things as they are, designed to be hit to the music. And that determines the rate at which the life bar will regenerate. And it also counts for bonus scoring at the end. So like, you know, if you play extremely well and you have a really high combo, that gives you like extra bonus points because you're able to maintain it throughout the entire course, or stage rather. So it could be worked into the combo system. Like if you somehow manage to like combo a whole bunch of shit, you know, you could just get like the other sled back. So if in order for that to work, you would have to make it so that like all of the stuff that was meant for the other sled does not like count against your combo, like it doesn't cancel it out.
But it still maybe has that effect on the life meter
Yes.
for that sled?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
So it's still like you can kind of fudge it, but you have to be you know, like you you have to keep getting combos while also managing the panic that comes from your life bar draining until you get the other one back.
So let's say one of your sleds is down. Does the markers for that sled then interfere with your remaining sled? Like if you try to pick them up, it'll break chain or something like that?
I think
break
the
combo?
only thing that I would change is the ones that were meant for both sleds can be hit by just one if you only have one. But otherwise, I think like you're going to continue to see markers meant for the other sled that you just simply cannot get until you get it back.
I get you.
So easier game modes will have wider sleds. I mean, I figure that, you know, to kind of start the players off, you would have two sleds of the same color, because at least that way you could just kind of, you know, like, oh, I can kind of play with either one, you know.
So if that's the case, then and both sleds are the same color, would it still affect each sled's health in an individual way?
In that case, the life bars would be just one.
Oh, they'd be shared?
Yeah.
Okay, I get you.
Yeah, because I mean, it wouldn't make sense to have separate life bars if they're the same color at that point. So, I figure that's just for like more advanced play where you'd have the colors separated and you'd have to control them individually with the sticks. So, well, I mean, you still can with the one color. You just have, you know, you'd be able to cover a lot more of the perimeter. So, and then the sleds will also be wider. So they'll, cause you know, like they kind of cover like an arc around the outside.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be like a wider arc for the easier game modes. And then for the more, you know, difficult ones, they'll be smaller. So you can, you know, you have less ground to be able to cover.
Do the easier modes then shrink the spike markers as well to kind of compensate for the wider sleds?
Sure. I hadn't really considered the size of that when I was designing this, but that could definitely, you know, definitely work.
Like what's the typical width of a pip or a marker or whatever? Is it like a point that gets covered by the sled or something
I would
like
say that like a pip is, you know, maybe the size of the sled, maybe a little smaller. You know, so I figure as long as your sled was like, you know, over 50% covering it, it counts as a hit. So
the more coverage it gets, it's like good, great, perfect, excellent, fantastic, stupendous, or whatever. Yeah, that kind of garbage. All right.
So I mean, you could still like kind of flounder your way through it and still probably be okay. But there's, you know, there's a, I figure it's one of those kind of scoring systems where it's very easy to get like the first 90 to 95% of the way, but like to really, really, you know, beat the crap out of the game, you have to be incredibly precise.
When you first brought up the kind of the stick and well idea, I was envisioning the two separate wells mapped to two separate sticks, but now I'm seeing that more as either a competitive or cooperative play option, where one person controls one on their side and and the other on the other side, and then vice versa for two players or something like that.
That would be kind of cool. I mean, you could totally make a cooperative game out of this, or competitive.
Real mindfucky, real quick though.
Like, it kind of reminds me of like a one mind thing. Having a one mind mode in this would be absolutely crazy. All right, so, but yeah, that's pretty much the gist of it. Just your markers come from the darkness in the center of the cylinder, and you kind of play through the different stages, and just try to survive to the end and get scored on how accurate you were.
Tilt the guitar to get star power, and then
right?
Whammy bar.
That's right.
But you know, there could be a thing. I was I'm not sure if you've ever played like a DJ Max game, but if you get a sufficiently good enough combo, like you hit enough in a row, it'll start to build up like this this max meter type thing. And there's a mode you can activate where if you do activate it, then your life bar is locked in place and you can't lose life for missing notes. And what expert players will do with that is they'll either, if they're extremely good at it, they'll just use it like immediately because it gives you a score boost, or they'll save it for a very difficult part of the song and just kind of BS their way through that section of the song because their life bar isn't affected. We could probably replicate something like that with this too.
Font for the modern age.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
Sorry, modern-ish age. I guess
Yeah.
that was only like 4 years ago or whatever.
No, it's 400 years ago. Come on.
Yeah, that's true. Isn't it 1619 or something?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's yeah. I think it would be simple to develop. I think the most difficult part for rhythm games is content and keeping the content fresh and varied enough.
Just pull in all of your music from DIFM. It's fine.
Yeah.
I would have thought like more precision is probably the harder part of developing that, but
You think so?
yeah. I mean, you can only get so precise, and then you get the people who are just absolute badass monsters at everything that
Yeah.
demand tighter and tighter times to
Yeah.
kind of make the metagame, well, not even the metagame, like the game portion of it actually cater to like super high skill caps.
I think this sort of gets away from that for a bit because of the analog controls. So like with button mashy games, there are people who are just, going to be absolutely awesome, and they have just the twitch reflex where they can just, essentially just mash buttons pretty easily. It's almost mechanical for them. But I think the precision required in operating like analog controls, especially like twin stick, I think that adds just like another layer of like motor skill complexity, It's not just like mashing buttons.
That's true. It's not like 4 separate directions or 8 separate directions. It's suddenly 360 degrees of technical term, by the way.
It was very spatial.
You gonna spell that out in the notes?
We can do that with the multimedia now. Like we get the whole package.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool.
So I had originally envisioned this instead of twin sticks with a couple of like pots instead, where like dials were basically kind of like how Sound Voltex does it with there's a particular game mechanic in there where you can control like gosh, I don't even know what it is, but it's like a little indicator. And one is like magenta and one is cyan, and like you have to move them in kind of like an analog fashion, left and right and stuff like that as part of the rhythm game field. But it's you don't have to be very precise with that. You can, it's extremely forgiving.
Funny you should say Voltex. Because chat brought up Voltex.
Yeah.
As you were describing.
And dials.
Yeah.
And dials, right.
Yeah. But I also thought like, well, that might make it unnecessarily challenging. And I think sticks work better for this sort of setup. I mean, dials work way better for Voltex for sure. But for this design, sticks are going to work better.
I think probably just as a general accessibility, sticks would work better.
Yeah.
Because it takes away the necessity of getting a specific control device for something like this, right?
Yeah, because they don't really stick dials on any controllers these days.
Bop it.
I mean, Atari 2600 had paddles, but
Well, Atari 2600 had any number of control devices, right?
Oh yeah, like telephone keypad and all this other garbage. So
Yeah. Then 5200 came along and had the joystick with the keypad on it, and the fucking buttons on the side never worked because they wore out super quick, and I don't know, whatever. Childhood.
Yeah. Yeah, we are kind of like with game design, we're sort of limited by the most popular kinds of input. I really think that we've sort of as far as input devices sort of hit the apex. Like I don't think that we're going to come up with anything that deviates too much further from the formula. I think like PlayStation sort of solidified that.
I think a lot of it was kind of held back by FPSs in general.
Yeah.
Like the ability to play an FPS, especially in early console generations, is really limited to control. Because PC, keyboard, mouse, well, fucking natural movement, aim, and guy's head pops off or whatever. But now that we've got the modern console generation of, 2 sticks is just par for the course right now. Aim, shoot, whatever. Or aim, move, rather.
Yeah, and that's not to say that, you know, like, you can be just as precise with with a lot of practice with the stick as you could with a mouse. You know, like you can flick a stick. Wow. With practice, you know.
No, I think you're right about that, because at least the game that I primarily speedrun, Called Android Cactus.
Yeah.
A lot of the androids are controlled probably just short of objectively better with keyboard and mouse, just by virtue of whatever. But I always play with gamepad because I love having the analog control, being able to move in more than 4 directions at any, well, more than 8 directions, I suppose, at any given time. It's because I'm used to that control scheme, and I'm not pretty good at it. I'm fairly good at it.
Yeah.
Just as a gamepad player, because I've been playing it for so long.
You know, I've kind of wondered about it, like a control scheme where, like, in one hand it would sort of be like the nunchuck, and in the other would be a mouse. Like, I think that would actually be a really, really cool first-person shooter control mechanism. Because it would give you all of that sort of, you know, multi-directional freedom in one hand, but like the very kind of precise movement that you have with like your dominant hand.
Right.
And the great part about that is you could swap them and it would still be okay.
Yeah, and I'd love to see that in more games going forward, kind of the more unconventional control combinations.
Yeah.
Like, I'd love to be able to do gamepad plus mouse for some things.
Yeah.
But I would say almost the vast majority of them don't support that, because they see keyboard and mouse as one control setup and gamepad as one setup, which is, you know, a natural way to go about doing it. But I'd love to be able to aim with mouse and then move with a stick still.
Yeah. You know,
that'd be
it's
fucking
funny
great.
you mentioned that, because spent some time with Grimelios last week, and apparently the game that he's working on with a friend, he built the engine in such a way where it will pull any type of input device at all times. You can use whatever combination or whatever you want to do whenever.
Great.
Yeah. So I remember reading that in the devlog, and I thought that was really neat.
Gosh, I almost want to try playing Unreal with that kind of scheme now.
Yeah, exactly, right?
I think I'm legit going to try that.
I'd love to have it generic enough where it becomes an accepted practice to just, it doesn't matter what kind of, like, how many devices you have.
Yeah.
Let me assign all of these to a player and assign keys to this player on all of these devices or whatever, analog sticks and shit like that, because it would be fucking rad to do.
It would.
Like, it would take a lot of time to set up and do,
but
once you get, like, really proficient with it, yeah, boy.
Well, that's,
I
guess, really intuitive. And that's the kind of thing that I was kind of hoping for. You know, like in some of our earlier games when we were talking, like, let's have all these weird control schemes that we can't do. But, you know, we got to build as we can, really.
Yeah. I think a really huge part about that is, it's finding the balance between a reasonable default, because most players are just going to be like, well, hey, my computer has like it has a gamepad hooked up to it, and I play most games with my gamepad. So with this game, you know, like, I'm gonna want to boot it up and be like, just grab the gamepad and go.
Sure. Yeah.
But on the other hand, like, having the ability to just severely, well, not severely, but like to a great effect, customize it would be really fantastic.
You know, actually, come to think of it, FF12 has everything active at the same time. So I can fuck around on the keyboard. I can move the mouse by accident and have the camera panel weird. And
That's really cool. That's kind of getting at what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I just realized that that's kind of a thing there.
That's kind of halfway there, though. Like, you would want the mouse to be active only when you want it to be active. Really.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just want to have it on by default and then, well, I can't really turn it off if I want to. Right?
Yeah. Whoops, I got an alt tab out and I smack my mouse at the same time, and I'm like, oh, there goes that.
Maybe like when you boot it up, it's all like, hey, what do you want to use today? You know, like, what kind of, we found these control schemes or these control devices, like, what do you want to use?
Yeah. What do you want to assign to this player? Okay. What do the buttons on each of these do? Okay.
Yeah.
Like they've gotten better as far as using analog controls as digital controls.
Yeah.
Like assigning trigger plus to an actual discrete button press or something like that, rather than enforcing it to be an analog control, which is great. That's a good first step, I think.
Yeah.
But getting I think it's probably more of a UX type thing than anything else, because configuring something like that is really not intuitive at all.
Yeah. Most people don't want to bother with config. Like most players are going to expect, hey, I can just boot this up, and then jump into the game. Like the default controls should probably be good enough. That's going to be the first thing that people do. People don't read manuals. They don't go into configuration settings. They don't care about any of that shit.
No.
They just want to boot it up and go.
Until you get to the 0.1% who really want to play the fuck out of the game.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And do it in a really efficient and awesome way for them.
Yeah, and
then
you still give them the tools to do all of that.
That's certainly, and I wish there was a generic multi-game way to do that. Something like Joy to Key for the modern age or something like that. But we're not there yet.
You just sort of have to bake that into whatever engine that you're using.
Yeah. Maybe someday we'll get there.
Yeah.
But, whatever. That's just us bantering back and forth about
Gee, what's new?
Stuff that we should do ourselves, really. And
I'm
stuff
legit
that we
going
want other things to do.
I'm legit going to take a stick on a controller in one hand and a mouse in the other and try that out now.
That'd be
Maybe
super
once you can
rad.
use your fingers.
Yeah, that's true. I'm a little bit inhibited right now, but
You can click, I guess, 2 buttons, a thumb button and a left mouse button in your left hand. I guess.
I would I don't even know how I would do that. But when I get this thing off, I am going to do the thing.
Fair.
I'd love to see more games embrace a HOTAS setup, hands-on throttle and stick type thing.
Yeah.
That's almost the dream of incongruous input devices, right?
Yeah.
One stick over here, and then you've got something or whatever. Just
Yeah.
adapt that to some more generic things. I don't want to hold. There we go. I don't want to hold half a gamepad in my hand and then have a mouse over here. It's unbalanced.
Yeah.
But I still want to be able to have an analog control on each thing.
Yeah.
Right.
That's why they need to manufacture half game pads or nunchuck versions,
Yeah, it's like nunchuck and
just-
Wii remote
it
is
gives you-
perfect. You can just go.
Yeah. They'll just give you, the controller and a button or two. And
Oh, don't
and
forget
then
the Switch can do that too.
That's true. Yeah.
So, yeah. It's actually really novel. I like that.
Just anything that separates you from having
Switch controller in one hand and
massive
a mouse
controls on either side.
In the other.
You
Be able to just flail about if you want to.
People have done that actually. That just reminded me of that.
Wait, what?
Because each individual Switch half is its own Bluetooth device.
Okay.
And people have mapped the buttons on it and the analog sticks being just normal input on Windows.
I would do that.
Yeah, there's totally drivers for it too, official drivers.
So combining the two input devices essentially into one, is that what they're
I mean, you
talking
can do that. I mean, you can make them individual halves like that, or you can just be I want this half for this, and I'm going to use a mouse in my other hand. I don't see why that wouldn't work.
I mean, sometimes it comes down to game support like that. It's very strictly one device per person, and then it's well,
yeah, yeah, it's whatever. I think that might be worth checking out though, and I do have a spare set of Joy-Cons. That's what the hell they're called. I forgot. Yeah, I've got those. They got to be charged, but yeah, I don't see why that wouldn't work. That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah, that kind of brings to mind I'm almost gonna make this into some kind of homework assignment for myself to figure out ideally what would be a good UI that would allow you to use any combination of input that you have available, even if it means using multiple devices, but still have sane defaults.
Now I want to see if I can play FF12 with Joy-Cons.
I don't see why you couldn't.
Because it has all the same buttons.
Two sticks and face buttons and a D-pad if you so
and
choose.
Triggers,
right?
yeah, triggers are used.
Yeah, that sounds like a really fun project.
I'm gonna have to see if that's a possibility. I think that'd be fun to try.
Yeah.
Of course, I would have to charge them again, but yeah.
Cool.
Shall we?
Game devs, come on. Get our input shit in line here.
I'm gonna be thinking about this shit all month now.
It's gonna be like, come on, we got to figure out a better way to do this because it's so rad.
I almost want to do like a blog post on this now, like for real.
There we go. Perfect.
There you go.
All right. Any other final closing thoughts before we spin off into another rant about input controls and shit like that?
I think we're good.
That was a good rant.
All right. Very good. Well, thank you very much for joining us, everybody. I'm Mr. Bond.
I'm Tormod.
And I'm Saxxon.
We'll leave you with our typical closing track now. A remix from Mario Kart Wii entitled Wind in Your Hair by Overclocked University and Ocean's Andrew. Good night, everybody.
Ciao.
Adios.